From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, December 12th. It's going to be cloudy and gloomy again today. Some low-level clouds are going to hang around. We could see some small breaks in the clouds late in the day, but mostly we're going to stay cloudy. High temps in the low to mid-40s. Indiana's lieutenant governor is officially running for the state's highest office. Suzanne Crouch launched a campaign website this morning. It includes an ad for her run for governor. Crouch has served as Governor Holcomb's second in command for both of his terms in office. As of last month, Crouch had already raised more than $2 million. This comes as Republican Senator Mike Braun prepares to officially announce his campaign for governor today. Braun filed the paperwork for a 2024 campaign 2 weeks ago. The move opens up Braun's Senate seat. U.S. officials are describing Brittany Griner's return flight from Russia. Others who were on board say the newly freed basketball star didn't want any quiet time on the flight. Roger Carstens is a special presidential envoy for hostage affairs. He says Griner started introducing herself to everyone on the flight crew. As soon as she boarded, she wanted to know who everybody was and what role they played in getting her home. Russia released Griner last week in a prisoner swap for Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. Capitol Hill is reacting to Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema's decision to leave the Democratic Party. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders slammed the decision, but says it likely won't change the way the Senate functions. Democrat Senator Jon Tester echoed Sanders' sentiment on the Senate's functionality. Sinema announced her decision to leave the party and register as an independent on Friday. She says she's walking across all the political boundaries to get things done. A second seditious conspiracy trial against members of the Oath Keepers begins today. It comes less than 2 weeks after the group's founder and the leader of its Florida chapter were convicted of the same charges. Now, 4 lower-level members are on trial. They face several other felonies in addition to seditious conspiracy. Prosecutors accuse them of a violent plot to overturn President Joe Biden's victory, culminating in the January 6th insurrection. 2 people are facing several charges accused of driving more than 100 miles an hour in east central Indiana. State police say a trooper spotted David Sereno Lopez speeding Saturday night on I-70 near Newcastle. Police say Lopez and his passenger, Diego Carmona Quinta, had methamphetamine on them. Troopers also say they found 3 guns, including an AK-47 style pistol, in the car. Lopez is held on drug, reckless driving, and intoxicated driving charges. Carmona Quinta faces a drug charge. They're in the Henry County Jail. To Benton County in northwestern Indiana, where 2 people are accused of stealing more than $500,000. State police say Tony and Donald Walter stole the money from Kugel Enterprises, where Tony Walter was the office manager. Investigators say she stole the money over several years in a number of ways, including writing checks to herself and to Donald Walter. State police say the theft topped $500,000 since 2017. Police arrested the pair Sunday in Attica, then took them to the Benton County Jail on charges of money laundering, theft, and corrupt business influence. In Davies County, a farm tests positive for bird flu. The State Board of Animal Health says it's the first confirmed case in Indiana since September 1st. Officials say it was a commercial flock of more than 11,000 turkeys. According to the board, a total of 15 flocks have tested positive since February. And today, families in Perry Township expect to find out if their children will move schools. Perry Township's school board is set to vote on a redistricting plan. District leaders are trying to deal with the transportation crisis, largely caused by a bus driver shortage. They considered 4 proposals, and the superintendent is recommending one of them. It would establish new elementary school boundaries and tighten transfer rules. It would also end bus transportation for students who choose to go to a school outside of the new boundaries. Tonight's meeting is at the Perry Township Education Center at 6 o'clock. A close friend of sports writer Grant Wahl is describing some of Wahl's final moments. Wahl died Saturday in Qatar while covering a World Cup match. Wahl was largely seen as America's premier soccer writer. Several times during the course of the tournament, Wahl described feeling ill and visiting a clinic for care. Guillaume Balaguer was a colleague and a friend who shared a house with Wahl as they were covering the tournament.
So he told me on the Friday morning he had a longer sleep than usual. He was clearly tired. I think it gets to a point where we've been working every single day. He told me that he had been to hospital because we'd known since he arrived that he didn't feel well. He was given 3 days of antibiotics, but he wasn't still well, so he had gone back. He thought, or they thought, not sure about that it was bronchitis. But we walked, fast in our pace and on the stadium, and there was no signs of anything.
The U.S. State Department says it is working with officials in Qatar to fulfill the family's wishes about Wall's body. Many in Maine are mourning after a weekend crash killed 4 students. It happened early Saturday morning after the last day of classes at Maine Maritime Academy. The school held a vigil Sunday to honor the students. This is finals week at the school, but leaders say they'll adjust schedules and keep student well-being the top priority. The NBA is mourning a man who spent most of his life in the league. Paul Silas had a 15-year playing career, then coached for 4 decades. As a player, he was a defensive stopper and an all-star. As a coach, he won 400 games, leading 5 teams in his time on the bench. In 2003, he became LeBron James's first pro coach. Paul Silas was 79. A new trial shows promise for an experimental breast cancer treatment. It's a combination of an existing endocrine therapy and a new oral medication from AstraZeneca. The study showed that progression of the disease slowed for people on the combined treatment, doubling the time with no growth. This is a phase 3 trial as the new oral medication moves toward possible approval. Mission accomplished this morning for NASA with the return of the Orion spacecraft. Splashdown Sunday marked the end of Artemis 1, the first flight in the program designed to take humans back to the moon. The capsule landed in the Pacific off the coast of Mexico. The mission lasted 25 days. It was an unmanned flight aimed at testing the equipment that will one day take astronauts up and back. NASA officials say the heat shield and parachutes had to work perfectly yesterday, and they did. NASA plans to use the data collected on the mission as it chooses a crew for the Artemis 2, which could take off in 2024. NASA aims to send astronauts back to the moon in 2025 and put the first woman and first person of color on the lunar surface. And happening today, IU plays for its 9th national men's soccer title. The Hoosiers take on Syracuse tonight in North Carolina for the College Cup. The team posted new video from practice. Back home, IU is hosting a watch party on campus. You can see the game on the big screen at Assembly Hall. Doors open at 5:30. Match kicks off at 6. There is no charge to go. And to business headlines, Twitter will relaunch a revamped version of its subscription service, Twitter Blue. The service will allow subscribers to edit tweets, upload 1080p videos, and get a blue checkmark post account verification for $8 a month through the web, but for $11 a month through Apple iOS. Twitter didn't explain why Apple users were being charged more than others on the web, but there have been media reports that the company was looking for ways to offset fees charged in the App Store. Social Security beneficiaries will soon see bigger checks to help them cope with record high inflation. The 8.7% increase will be the highest in 40 years. It's also a significant bump from the 5.9% cost of living increase beneficiaries saw in 2022. The higher checks begin in January. Automaker Stellantis will cut 1,000 jobs, saying it won't need as many workers due to its transition to electric vehicles. Stellantis, the parent company of Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep, said it will make every effort to place the laid-off employees in open positions and is looking for other opportunities at the company. No word on if this will have an impact on Stellantis' Chrysler operation in Indiana. Instacart says customers can now order live trees up to 5 feet tall or artificial trees up to 9 feet tall, along with holiday decor through the Instacart app for same-day delivery from a variety of grocery, wholesale, and home improvement specialty stores across the country. Deliveries are subject to availability, so it may be worth checking if Instacart will deliver to your location in the U.S. Instacart also says cookie dough, marshmallows, hot cocoa mix, and eggnog all top the list for the most ordered holiday foods in December. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.